I'm standing here today to actually talk about my wife, my obsession with my wife, all right? Because I'm a Muslim, usually they ask me, oh, you must have like 1, 2, 3, 4 wives, right? No, just one. And in fact, she's discounted 25% more than that, like what you heard just now. About maybe 40, 60, 70, you know. But she's nice, beautiful, even prettier than Princess Diana, you know. No, seriously. I got that compliment always from a diver. So, wait. Sorry, there's a technical mistake. So, my wife is actually a coral, okay? So you can call her coral, all right? So, what's the similarity between coral and human being? They actually, when the corals start to die, they turn to white. So that's similarity. And the coral will start to get disease, and then they start bleaching, and then they start with algae, you know, algae start to covering the coral and kill them. You know, that is how they die lately, these days, okay? And why actually they're dying? You know, that's the main reason that I want to actually tell you guys that it's not only because of global warming that you thought that the coral dies. You know, that's just a major part, but some part of it. You know, the main important thing that threats coral reefs is actually our own activities, human activities on land, like poorly regulated and irresponsible tourism. You know, people step on corals and then they bring out the corals themselves and then start to take pictures, and then untreated water released to the river and it end up to the sea, and then land reclamation, coastal development, deforestation, and many others. A lot of things that we do on land affected our coral reefs in the sea that we don't even know. You throw rubbish on land, you know, litter on land, it can end up in the sea, and it can actually threat coral reefs. And nobody actually cares about that because you didn't see that directly, you know. And then So this is coral bleaching. It's not albino coral, all right? So don't ever thought that there's albino coral exists. So white color means the coral is about to die. And this coral is started to, like previously, it's just about to die. This started to die, you know? And then for this one, is actually the algae started to cover the coral, okay? So I used to have, I used to go to my favorite dive spot in one of the islands in Malaysia. And then when I went there again this year, and I found this. Suddenly, it used to have a lot of coral reefs, marine life, and a lot of critters, fish, everything. And then when you go there again, nothing. And the corals just die. And then I was disappointed. And if only I can share this, not just this one piece, but a lot more with you, all of you actually. You know, this is what's happening. It's not only happens in Malaysia, it happens in, you know, Australia, in Bali, in American Samoa, many, you know. So this destruction that I want to actually tell you, and what can you do to help our coral reefs, to revive it back, you know, other than, okay, you can start with the small steps, like perhaps if you go to the having holiday to the island, you know, try not to wear sunblocks. It won't help. Well, it won't help for the reefs at least. even helps for you maybe, but not for the reefs. And try to wear long protective swimwear, you know. I know maybe you want to show your muscle, or, you know, I'm so tough and like that, you know, so I wear sunblocks. But please, protect the coral reef. And then try not to litter rubbish in the water. Try not to feed the fish too when you do snorkeling. And you know why? Because the fish actually help to, as a janitor of the coral reefs, they eat the bad algae that can kill the corals. When you feed them, right, they feel that, okay, the bread that we give is more health, it's better, it's like they are KFC, so they like it. So they don't want to eat that normal food, the algae anymore, and there's no taste in it, you know. So if they don't eat that, then the coral dies. So please remember that. I urge you to remember that. If you go having holidays and the local people give you some bread to actually feed the fish, no need. You just take your snorkel and start to snorkel, and that's it, all right? So why coral reefs so important? Sea provide us with 1.4 million metric ton of seafood yearly in 2014 for Malaysia, and generating about 9 billion ringgit Malaysia from that. That's a lot. That's a lot. So how do actually where does that seafood comes from? With the reefs, you know. Without the reefs, there will be no shelter, there will be no protection for the fish and for the marine life, and there will be no food for our marine life. So if we have no reefs, so what are we going to eat any longer? I mean, it's hard to have a seafood. We have to import our seafood from overseas. You know, do you want that? No, right? And then the tourism industry will drop because there's no more reef. We cannot attract any longer tourists to come to visit our coral reefs, right? So, you know, a lot of people thought that having artificial reef helps to revive our reefs, but no, you are totally wrong. The reason of artificial reef is that is to attract fish and attract fish only, basically. And then you give a diversion to the tourists away from our natural reef. But there's nothing in for the artificial reef. It's colorless, it's dull, and just that. It doesn't promote coral growth at all. Many times when I go to see a natural reef, especially made from pipes, that is no-no basically. Coral reef made from pipe, they can degrade it, and then they become small pieces, and they will move away by the current, and then, you know, who eats that small parts of the pipes? The fish, marine life, even turtles, and they die because of that. And we thought that, all right, we have put our natural reef, it's good, but actually you make it worse further. Is that it? No. So I'm introducing to you a more viable method of coral rehabilitation. I call it coral propagation. The method is very simple and effective, okay? And everybody can do it. Anybody can do it, and you can do it anywhere. You don't have to be diver, you don't have to be snorkeler, you don't have to be swimmer, you don't have to be marine biologist. You, the normal people, can do it. It's easy. You just, the method, only like 3 or 4 simple methods. You take live rocks, you take a fragment of the corals, and then you attach to the live rocks, and done. And you place it there nicely and let it grow. All right? However, there is a proper technique of how you want to choose the right live rocks, the right fragment of the corals, and then where you want to put it. Because we don't want to actually plant the corals and then we put somewhere where it's actually at the intersection of a very unhealthy river or perhaps a sewage, and then you expect the coral to be healthy, right? So we have to properly check the condition. Stuff like that we can teach you, you know. And then that's the least that you can do to revive back our corals. And once the coral get to the ideal size, we will actually further fragment it and then put at the affected reefs. and in hope that it will revive. You know, interesting thing is that when I went to Kapas, because I'm a diver, so we have to build our coral nursery. And then we started to actually build a little bit by bit, and the fish start to come to us immediately from nothing. And then we make the nursery, the fish come, and then I could even gently, you know, gosok-gosok. Sorry. All right. So you know it become lively, and then cuttlefish came to our place, and they start to breed at our place. You know, so it's very helpful, and you can see it immediately that it works. Okay. The corals that we take for to plant, you have to be a bit careful with what you choose to plant it, because you know, this is dying corals, this is dying corals, this is healthy corals. So you might wonder why these two are dying, these two are alive. That's the reason we want to actually replant this, because this coral is resilient. And there are many other corals are resilient towards global warming, towards exposure of our activities, stuff like that. So we take that to propagate further, you know. And then once we manage to do that, we will actually plant it on the live rocks. We'll start with only 1 to 2 centimeters. And then after that, after 9 months, it blooms to 10 centimeters. So that's just one coral, one bead. So if I have like 50, 60 bead, so you have a lot of that. And from our study in Kapas, mortality rate of this coral is actually 20%. Which is at least, you know, 80% of them successful. So it's better, you know. So this is one of the example of the replanted reefs that we put at the affected area. This is actually in Pulau Gelo. So we did that activity with Yayasan Bank Rakyat as part of their CSR services. And then we teach the community to actually do this with us. We bring the students with Yayasan Bank Rakyat, and then we teach them how to do it, and then they spread further to their friends at their university. That's what we want, you know. And then we even organized it, me and my trainer friend organized trips for coral rehabilitation from University Tenaga Nasional early this year actually. So a lot of them glad that they follow the course because they don't even know nothing about corals. 80% of public from our survey thought that corals are actually a plant. Because when I say that, oh, coral planting, so they thought plant trees, so coral plant. Well, in fact, coral is actually an animal. And then the best thing is that you plant animal in the sea, but it's not you're not planting trees, right? So I'm quite having delving into this coral propagation since 2013. And I was introduced by Ocean Quest at that time. And then since then, I thought it's this knowledge, this awareness need to be educated to the public through education and has to start from young. Because we were taught about trees, jungles, as early as when we were in kindergarten. But we didn't talk about coral reefs that is considered as jungle of the sea since we were young. And it is important, but we didn't even know that, even though it is going to affect us a lot. So I hope that ladies and gentlemen here could help me, you know, to educate other people about coral propagation, and you yourself take a step, small steps to learn about this. All right? And maybe we can do together, revive back our reefs, because if the reef die, we might die too. Okay? Thank you very much.